finding that courage and just daring to live your truth. She's been finding herself without even knowing she was finding herself, and she was running with it.
ReCoded. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of ReCoded. So excited as always. We're here with Stacia, Hannah, and myself, Sarah. We are the Alliance. Hello. And this is our first episode where we're bringing on a special guest. We promised with the new reboot of our podcast that we were going to be bringing on guest speakers, experts in other areas, and let you know what they did to recode their life, their way of thinking and living. So we're so excited to have a special guest. This lady is a multi-passionate creator who works to encourage and motivate others to live their best, most authentic lives naturally. Oh my God, she is a past client of mine. We are connected through blood. And I just know that bio, when I asked Morgan for her bio, she said that to me in seconds. And I get emotional. You guys, I'm probably going to cry at some point during this because I know what it took her to get there. And to so easily be able to answer that 3 years ago, 4 years ago, wouldn't happen. It was a totally different story, and she's going to tell you about her journey. And I'm just so excited. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to bring beautiful Morgan. Yay!
Morgan Hughes. Yay!
Oh my God, thank you. What kind of I'm over here crying basically. Leo in the Leo season, love hearing all of that about myself. Thank you guys so much. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Well, you're our first guest, so it's a very special occasion, and we're very, very
perfectly fitting. Yeah. Okay, so let's start this off.
So I'm going to start kind of when I was just coming out of high school, going into university. I was a very anxious, very negative person. Everything was, I hate this, I hate that, blah, blah, blah. But I was doing the things. I had this plan, and I was working at McDonald's over my high school time, saving money, not really saving money, just funding my experiences, my adventures, my alcohol consumption and partying. So we were doing that, but I was working at McDonald's watching the Prison Break show. And that was the first show that I had ever gotten like completely 100% into. And when I enjoy something, I do it 110%. So I joke whenever I am into a show, everything in my life revolves around that show. It's almost like I can't determine the show versus reality anymore. I think I see characters out at the shopping market. Like I think I see them in my life, and I mistake people's names for characters anyway. So I get excessive, which I do with a lot of aspects of my life. And I finished Prison Break, and I always had known I would end up on one side of the law, on the right side or the wrong side of the law. And I knew whichever way I go, I would be good at it. So I decided after finishing this Prison Break that I was going to be a correctional officer. I was going to run a maximum security male penitentiary. So here in Canada, a penitentiary is our federal system for jails, for prisons. And my goal was to run the maximum security male pen, because women scared the shit out of me, and so did children. So I could easily control a house full of men. And the warden is the main person that's in charge of a prison that runs all aspects of it. So that was my plan. And from then on, that was what I trained for. In school, I took criminal justice and corrections in university. I did a double program with the school that I went to. So I did 4 years of university in 3, and then 2 years of college in 1. So in 4 years, I got a degree and a diploma for criminal justice, community justice around corrections. And I started working in security. I got so much experience in self-defense, in martial arts, in how to use batons, handcuffing, all of these things. And I just really found my power and my confidence. And also along this time, I played ball. I've played ball for my whole life. But at one point in my first year of university, I think, my coach for our rep team, she had never played ball really since her childhood. So her credit with me was not the best. And her daughters were rivals of my sister and I. We were self-proclaimed the like superstars in the league, and these sisters were also very good. So we had a fun little rivalry. We were friends. We had a lot of fun on the field, but their mom was our coach. And so I'm there. I'm one of the older girls. So I'm kind of stepping up as a leader because I love leading. I love coaching. I love guiding and mentoring. I love it all, especially about something that I am passionate about. So put me on the field. It's great. But when I was on the field, I used to yell, not yell at people, but I would get aggressive. I would get excessive. Like, you should have got that, get behind the ball, blah, blah, blah. This coach, her mindset was you say something positive. And she told me about this coach. I couldn't tell you. It's an NFL coach. He had the most rings or whatever people win for winning Super Bowls. But he only said positive things to his players. And so that's kind of where my
John Wooden.
I could not tell you. I'm not good with names at all. But this coach, he was positive to his team and he won the most. His team wanted to win the most for him. So this is kind of where my positivity and like the way I spoke to myself and others really shifted and changed. I found myself a more energized leader on the field. I found myself really excited when someone did something great. At first, it was kind of me pretending, like looking for something to say so I wouldn't yell at them, like, okay, great try, but maybe next time catch it. Like, that's not positive. So it'd be, oh, great try, good try, get behind it next time, awesome throw in, or something like that. It's so simple, but that's where it started. So this positivity kind of followed me a bit in this aspect of my life, and just the way that I spoke. I noticed a lot when I would be driving, the road rage, not as negative or extreme. I would say things instead of like bleep, bleep, bleep. I would say, I hope you get to where you're going, but like, good luck with that and try not to cut me off next time. Or like, so it's just changed my kind of perspective without even realizing that that's what I was changing. Anyways, so I graduate from my criminal justice program. I have all of the experience, and I did my placement at a medium security penitentiary in Ontario here. I was able to do, I think, about 2 months shadowing a correctional officer. I'm like, yep, this is what I want to do. I love it. They were hard shifts, like 12-hour shifts and then an 18-hour shift. We'd have 2 12-hours and then an 18. And they were long days. It was crazy, but I really enjoyed like the excitement of it, having to be vigilant and watch and pay attention to detail. I love all of that. People watching, that's basically like, as a bouncer, that's what I got paid for, was people watching. And I love it. Just watching the dynamics of a group and kind of like monitoring it, seeing where it shifts and changes is one of my favorite things to do. That's why I can't go to restaurants anymore. So I get out of school, I get a job, and I start applying for this penitentiary. You can only apply for, I think, 3 different institutes at one time, but it's a process. So because it's the federal government, it's a 7-stage process. And I couldn't tell you all of the stages, just a variety of things. But I got to stage 5 of 7, and this was the psychological evaluation. And at no point during this stage am I like, oh, what if I don't make it? Like, this is what's happening. I'm becoming a correctional officer. I'm going to be the warden of a maximum security male penitentiary within 5 years. Like, there's no other way that this could go. This is my plan A, my only plan. That's it. But I didn't plan for 3 days before this test that I booked, having to put down my best friend, my dog of 15 and a half years. I literally tell this story all the time and don't get choked up. Safe to say, I wasn't stable enough for that test. But I was also 23 years old, and I found out that the federal government only hires like 25 and past. So I'm in this the fifth stage of 7, and I fail out of this. And I was kind of shocked. I had no clue what I was like. What do you mean I didn't pass this? And because I had made it past stage 3, I had to wait 2 more years before reapplying. I couldn't reapply right away, which what I would have done. So I was kind of at a standstill. I had no clue what else to do. My plan A was gone. It didn't exist anymore, and I had to wait 2 years. So I started applying for every other law enforcement agency you could possibly imagine, even though my heart wasn't in it. For my whole schooling, people were saying, why not just become a cop? Like, why wouldn't you be a police officer and not a correctional officer? And I would always joke, I don't want to chase the criminals. I want to contain them. So I started applying for things, RCMP, OPP, border security, anything like military police, all of these things. And I would always get interviews. I couldn't even tell you how many interviews I did in a year and a half, probably around 11. And each time I did not make it. Like, I'm done at this point. It's been a year and a half. I say, fuck it all. Can we swear on this? I assume.
Yes.
Okay. At this point, I'm working 4 jobs. I'm working, I was bouncing on the weekends. I was doing my law enforcement, so my parking tickets during the day, and I was working overnights at the college. And at this job, we had a computer for 12 hours, and we would do our patrols every couple hours, but unless something was going wrong, we had lots of free time in the office. And unlike some of my other coworkers, I would actually stay awake for the full overnight. So I would just putter around on my computer. So at this point, I was done. I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm 25. I think I was 24, turning 25. I'm gonna every Canadian citizen under the age of 28 can get a free work visa for Ireland for up to a year. And my family's Irish, so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to Ireland. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll guide some hikes. Maybe I'll be a bartender. Maybe I'll do security. Who knows? I don't care. Goodbye. See you later. So I spent 2 or 3 overnight shifts just planning this excursion away to Ireland. And that was my plan now. I'm like, fuck corrections. I'll just do this. And so I'm sitting there planning my life with lists and research and links and all of the things. And my friend randomly messages at me at like 2 a.m. with a job posting, because in North Bay, like the security community is very small. So everybody knows everybody. And if you have a job for someone that you think someone would be good at, or you need someone on your team, you just send a message. So it was a Ontario Park warden position. And I was like I was reading the job description, and it was perfect. It was 100% me. I didn't even know this was a job. I only knew that in provincial parks, you couldn't be loud or drink off your site because we had gotten in trouble for it. I didn't even realize that there was anybody enforcing these rules. And so I also should add that the second I got any sort of enforcement job, so bouncing, security, whatever, my mom was like, this makes so much sense, because ever since I was a kid, I would always be that person. Are we allowed to do this? Or is so-and-so allowed to be doing this? Like, yeah. I like order. I like rules, like, and everybody should follow them. So here I am.
Imagine me living with Morgan.
I know, I'm like, you're sitting with 3 rule breakers.
Oh my God.
The rules.
It depends on the rule. I will say, like, it's not like I follow every rule anyways. So I wrote a cover letter and did my resume. I made for this job and and I'm doing the thing again. This is the plan. This is the only way that it could possibly go. I'm going to be a park warden. Of course I am. Write cover letters, apply. You could only apply for 5 parks at one time for one season. So I Googled the parks that had living accommodations because I was 25 living with my family, which gets exhausting. And I was like, hey, who has summer accommodations like for their staff? So I Googled that and I chose the 5 parks that I didn't think anybody would apply to. So I applied, did the thing, sent it off. A couple weeks later, I get a call for a phone interview, did the phone interview for Rushing River Provincial Park. It's up in Kenora, about 18 hours away from North Bay, where I'm from. And I do the interview and they were super impressed. Like I had an answer for everything. I felt really good about this interview. So I send it off. I'm like, yep, okay, I should start packing now. Like, here I go. So I get a call a couple days later and he says, thank you so much. We really appreciate your application. Like, you're perfect for this position, but unfortunately we found someone within parks to fill the position. So we can't offer this to you, but keep on applying. I was like, okay, like, thank you so much. I will do. So back I go to my Ireland plan. It's been like a couple weeks. So I'm still kind of planning this idea, working my 3 jobs, whatever it is at this point. And so one night I remember I was sitting, it was about 2 weeks after the initial call where I was told I wasn't getting this job. And I finally just let go. I was like, you know what, whatever happens is going to happen. Like, I am fine with whatever happens. And so my sister and her boyfriend were over for dinner at my parents' house. And Taylor says, so Morg, like, what are you doing now? Like, what's your plan? I was like, honestly, Taylor, I have no plan. Like, it is what it is. It's in the universe's hands now. And not even an hour later, I got a call back from Rushing River and they offered me the position because someone had dropped out. And I'm pretty sure I said, fuck yes, on the phone. And he laughed and he was like, do you need to think about it? Like, that's a trek. Like, that's 18 hours away. I'm like, nope, when do you need me there? He's like, well, actually, you have 3 weeks training course and there's the last one is in North Bay. So stay there, do the training, pack up, and then head up for this date. And it worked perfectly. The job, so I put in my leave at all of my jobs. The one job I was working at was security at a college. And that's where my training was at this college. So it was really serendipitous. My life usually is. Everything works out in a very special, magical way. So yeah, I got this job and I was 25, turning 25 that year, drove up to Kenora all by myself with my kayak, my bike, my SUV that barely runs. And like, this is the farthest I've driven by myself in Northern Ontario, one way, like 1-lane highways, crazy. I saw some bears, I saw moose, I saw deer. It was so surreal and it was just so beautiful. I had never been so far into the wilderness at this point, and it was just amazing to be just a vehicle and endless trees, like no service, nothing. It was scary, but it was so surreal. And I knew that whole drive exactly where I needed to be was right there. So I got the job, I did all of the things, and I rocked it. I thrived as a park warden. When my time had come, because after that season, I would have been able to reapply for corrections. That was my 2-year hold. So after that first year of Kenora, of park wardening, I got to make that choice on what I was going to do. And I decided I could not work in a facility for 12 to 18 hours a day. There was no way, after working in such a different position, in working outside all of the time, being able to hike whenever I wanted, being able to like breathe the fresh air and be grounded and just pay attention to nature around me rather than working in a concrete box. Was that I worked at Rushing River for 3 years. My first summer I met Tyler. Second summer Tyler worked there with me at the park. And then the third summer we both worked there again. But at that point, Tyler and I were realizing that we wanted to kind of like live a life. Seasonal work was not the best. Like winters were nice. The one winter, I think 2020, I took my whole winter off and just I focused on mindset. I focused on courses with Sarah. So I was able to really like dive into myself and see what could happen. Like what were possibilities? How could I use my time?
I feel like that was like another turning point for you, right? Like it was a gift where you could really look at that and be like, what do I actually want to do? But there was all these rejections, but really they were like, no, like, okay, this is just, you're going through the maze and this isn't the spot. That's not the way to get to where you got to be. Like you got to go over this way. And I feel like
it was like
just
bumpers.
another opportunity for you to challenge yourself and grow and really like, okay, you found out, okay, I'm really passionate about outdoors. Do I want to work every day of my summer doing this? No, I actually like experiencing the outdoors. You want to be able to go on hikes. You want to be able to go kayaking. So it was like, okay, now how can I tie this in? You created like programs and books, and it's like that all came from that like opportunity to have the time off to really look at that.
Yeah, exactly. Because my first summer as a park warden, did that, came back to North Bay, and I got a house sitting job. And this was like the 2019 winter. And I got a house sitting job. So I was in this big, beautiful house sitting. And Sarah just started her online business. And I remember you did what was it called when you bring everybody together? And it was like a big, it was like the first summit. And somehow I had a night off because I was working 3 jobs at the time. And I watched the summit, and when I get inspired, I get very inspired, and I go 0 to 100 like endless, like so quick. And that's all that my life revolves around. So it's pretty bad. Like I can't watch certain movies like Wild with Reese Witherspoon. If I watch that, I will just like leave my life and go backpacking. So I need to really be careful with these things, my inspiration and passion that come out. But this summit, like that was my biggest like turning point, I think, for mindset, because I was always positive, always like, doing the good hippie thing. But when I realized that there was actually like a science almost to it, and a practice and ritual and all of the things, it just changed my life. And then from there I found human design. I found how astrology really works with me. Everything possible, like that is my life now, is because of that summit. So that was the first winter off, and I was working 3 jobs. And then around came tax season, and I had to pay a bunch of money because I guess I didn't do the taxes right. I was working 4 jobs and it didn't work out. So I was like, okay, fuck this then. I'm not working any more than I have to. So I worked my second summer as a park warden, and then I took the 2020 off, and we were up in Winnipeg because this was the second part of COVID. So we stayed up in Winnipeg because this is where Tyler's family is. That was a whole other shit show because we had to quarantine, and I had to quarantine in an apartment, and I couldn't have access to outside, and I almost lost it. Had a few breakdowns there, watched a lot of Halloween movies, worked on my book a lot. Like that's where I started my book, I think. And then that's when because at first going up, I was like, I'm just going to get a job at a yoga studio and then like do whatever else like with my free time. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like there's not even yoga studios open right now. So I'm just going to sit. And I did courses, and I started my podcast a while ago, like at the beginning of everything.
Yeah.
Like I did my book, I couldn't even tell you how many programs like about confidence, about self-talk, self-care, mindset, all of these things. And yeah, camping and hiking, lists, checklists.
You had a
I,
Facebook group too, and
let's wander.
one of the things we really want, because I knew you'd be a perfect example of this, there's a lot of people right now looking for like alternative sources of income. They're realizing, maybe their one job isn't enough. And you talked about having 3 jobs at one point, right?
Yeah.
And realizing, no, you don't have to work the 3 jobs. And people who are listening might be thinking, man, I resonate with that. I feel that. And I think showing how you took that opportunity and be like, what can I do? Is it courses I can create? Is it like you actually made a book, right? And sold a book online. Like it's wild to think about that people can use to guide them. My mom, who never kayaked ever in her life, I can't even tell you how like bizarre of a thought that is to think of my mom wanting to go on a kayak. And it's because of you, right? Like helping her and like making her feel confident and realize, oh, no, and now she loves it. Like, I'm going to cry. Like you took something you were passionate about. You took an opportunity where you had downtime and you literally had you know how many people probably just sat on their ass, ate cheesy, cheesies, Cheetos, and watched Netflix while they were quarantined. And you're like, no, this is an opportunity. What can I do? And so many people listening are probably like, oh, I'm passionate about something. Wait, you can make a business out of this? Like for somebody to think, oh, I like hiking in the outdoors and I've been somebody who's really been connected with mindset and being positive. How can I help other people do the same thing and create courses, create like a group and a community and a podcast? And I'm just like, I've always been blown away, Morgan, with the way how you move and how you come up with ideas and you don't just sit on them. Like you use them as like ways to like propel you forward. And you don't get caught up on like, it has to stay like this forever. This has to be consistent forever. It's like, oh, okay, now what? Now what's next?
Yeah.
I think
well, that's the forever thing is what always deters me from that, because I've always been this and then that, like really quick. I don't even like, yes, multi-passionate, always. Like I've always been that way. And getting to know through all of my mindset journey, like it brought me to the moon and the knowledge of cycles, especially as a woman. And that really helped me to realize, oh, I'm just on a monthly flow. And that's why at some points I'm really into this, and then other points I'm really into this, and also seasons. In the winter, I'm all about doing my embroidery and painting and crafts, but I cannot sit inside in the summertime and do those things. Like I won't even look at this stuff. It's packed away for half the year, but it's there for when I'm ready. And there's just being able to recognize that and allow myself to go with that flow has just been so awesome and amazing.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny that you're talking about, because I was like, where I am versus where I'm planned. And if you can see the
my God, I love it. We need to put that in our stories.
Yeah. Literally.
I have a question because so I am a person I'm a city rat, right? I grew up in Mexico City. Then I was in New York City. Then I was in Miami. Then I went back to New York. And I've always lived in a city, but I've always had this romantic idea about camping, which has now a little bit been shattered in the past 2 months because I've had some issues where I've had to like almost camp in my house. And I'm thinking, if I'm this uncomfortable in my house with most things, just a couple of things that aren't working, like, a working shower, how could I survive in the wild, right? It's like, there's no way I can do this. And I think of, I went out in the yard the other day and the mosquitoes like completely killed me. And I'm like, there's no way I could survive out in the wild just with the mosquitoes. It's like, okay, I'm out. I'm not doing that, right? But then I think of someone like you, and I'm like, well, I'm sure that there are, it's different when you're an ignorant and you don't know, well, not an ignorant, when you're ignorant about a subject, right? And you don't have all the, the hacks. It can be nightmarish and it can be really dangerous.
Yeah.
But to have someone like you guiding me, it's like maybe I could actually enjoy it.
Right. Because for me, automatically, I'm like, okay, you don't want running water because you don't want to wash your hair or your body with all of the soaps that smell, because that's what's attracting the bugs. You want to jump in the lake and rinse everything off, and that's it. And then douse yourself in bug spray. I hate bugs. I hate them. And as long as, like, if they're around my head, I will lose it. So you'll often see me with like my hoodie tied around my head just like this, and it's tied with my hat on top, doused in bug spray. And because I hate bugs that much. Okay. So they're attracted to my hair.
But even with a hatred of bugs, you can survive out.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
yeah. It's only an hour.
Like I would be so useless. I'd be like, I'm getting bitten to death.
And we're also not out there like surviving, like survival of the fittest. It's a nice, relaxing camping trip. Like for me, it's like, hey, we're gonna go. I'm going camping with Tyler's aunt and cousins next weekend. I'm very excited because they have a cottage. I was very concerned that that's what they thought camping was. So we're going on a camping trip. We're going to bring a dining tent. So it's like a bug net tent. So we have a space where there's no bugs. We're going to teach them how to set up a tent, make sure that everybody knows how to start a fire, all of the things. Like we're going to have a good time, and we're probably going to cook over the fire. It's going to be a nice learning experience for the kids, because again, I'm very concerned that they think cottage with electricity and internet it's what camping is. So it'll be a fun time.
So you're gonna like kind of lead it, and that's
yeah.
Because one thing Morgan's always like wanted to do is like lead retreats. So I'm like, I feel like this is like preparation for that, like leading retreats. And
and we went to Tyler's friends the other week, and she brought up, I want to go camping, but I don't know really, like I want to be in the forest with a bunch of women on a full moon, but I'm scared of the camping or whatever. I'm like, this is what I want to do. Like, thank you, universe. Yes, I understand. I will work on that. But I'm
really, more for glamping.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like there could be options. There could be yurts set up. Who knows? Like there's endless possibilities.
How did the opportunity to get into animal services come up, and what made you know that was right for you?
Oh God. Okay. So it was a shit show of a time when I finally decided to move to Winnipeg. I was like, I'm just going to try something different. I'm organized. I like talking to people. I'm going to try a desk job. Then I could work Monday to Friday, and I could have time in the evenings and energy in the evenings to do stuff that I enjoy, like ride my bike or go for walks. And then on the weekends, I can go to camp. I can go camping and do all of the things. Got this job as a physio assistant and chiropractic assistant. It was hell on earth. I kept on telling myself that I was just different. It was different, and that I could do it. Then I realized that I was doing that thing where I was people pleasing all the time, and I was doing what I should do rather than what I wanted to do, or got to do. And it was honestly, that was a really dark time. And at one point I remember I was having like panic attacks before going into work because they made me feel like I had no clue what I was doing, where I felt I was doing a good job. I only got positive feedback from the clients. But anyways, one day I was having this panic attack before it was a Sunday, going on Monday. And I was talking to Tyler. I said, I would honestly rather have COVID than go to work tomorrow. Woke up the next day, had COVID. I had not gotten COVID the whole time. This was like 2022. I'm like, does COVID even exist still? Apparently, I literally manifested it. I asked for it and I got it. And I was happy for that 2 weeks. And I applied for a bunch of jobs. And I was like, this is fucked that I wanted to have COVID rather than go to work.
Yeah.
So I get back to work. I was like, I'll just stick it out for a little bit longer, just for the summer, and I'll be able to camp. It'll make it all worth it. And I started a ball league. So I was very excited. It was going to be my first time in like 3 seasons of being back on the ball field. I was so excited. 3 days before my ball starts in May, I am picking up garbage along the river and I bust my knee. I sprained my knee and I can't play ball. I've hurt my knee before. So I knew immediately what had happened. I had to go get it all checked out. And thankfully, I was working for a physiotherapist at the time. So all of my physio was covered and I healed up better. My knee is better than it was before it was injured. And then as I was healing my knee, I got a call back from one of the lawn care places that I had applied for, and it was called Lawn and Order, which I thought was hilarious as a play on Law and Order.
How odd that it was called that, right? That's so weird.
My life is magical. Like, I don't know how else to explain it.
Like, it couldn't have been anything else.
No.
You're right. Exactly. But literally the day that I accepted the job for Lawn and Order, I got a call back from Animal Services, which I had forgot I applied for. A week into my job with the lawn care place, I do a in-person interview. I thought it went really well. Continue working for the lawn care place, which I somehow, after 3 weeks, was running the crew, which I did not feel qualified to do, but I was doing it, driving a 1-ton with a 20-foot trailer down busy city roads that I have no idea how to navigate in my own vehicle, let alone with a 1-ton. So about a month and a half in, and I get the job with Animal Services. I say, thank you guys. Like, I'll work up until the week before, I start at Animal Services. And my boss is giving me shit. He's like, why don't you just take 2 weeks off? I was like, no, need the money, blah, blah, blah. Go to the cottage that weekend. I sleep on my neck wrong and I can't move it. So I had to find a chiropractor and I had to take the 2 weeks off before starting at Animal Services anyways. And in that time I did journaling and just like cleansing of my space to get rid of all of the shit that had accumulated from those other jobs. And I started at Animal Services on my mom's birthday, August 14th last year. And whenever somebody asks me about Animal Services, I just say, I love it. I'm obsessed with it. I would literally pay money to do this job.
Wow.
I am so happy going to this job every single day. It gets hard. Like, there's lots of shit that I have to deal with, but I get to like use all of those skills that I really enjoy. I first of all get to see dogs every single day, which is good for the brain. And I get to communicate with people. I get to solve problems with people, and I get to work a part of his team, it's all women basically, except for my supervisor is a male, but the majority of Animal Services is a woman, which is very healing for me because I've never had the best relationship with women throughout my life, but it's just so powerful. And I really think I've found like a good balance for work life. It's a 4 on, 4 off. So I work 4 days, 12-hour day shifts. And those 4 days off, I get to live my life. Like, I was sitting here before, because I always sit before I have a call with anybody, and I jot down some thoughts. And I was just thinking, like, how awesome is it that I get to have all of it? Like, I get to have it all. I get to work this job that I love and that I want to improve myself to do. Like, I do stretching and yoga and workouts every single morning. I really am working on my cardio so that I'm able to run and chase dogs if needed. Cardio has never been my thing. And I'm really working, like, trying to figure out how I can fit in jiu-jitsu or some sort of martial art, because I love that. Like, I love that aspect and I miss it for the winter time to get my physical activity in there. And I just want to improve myself to be a superhero for these dogs. I really wrote that yesterday as I was manifesting for the Lionsgate, was I want to be a superhero. And that's kind of like how I'm making my way.
The fact that you were on such a structured path and your dog gave it all up for you so that you could see that there was so much more to this life than putting yourself in this regimen of, I'm going to be in this concrete building for 12 to 18 hours a day, and everything would have just been so bleak and awful. And now here you are exploring the world and helping people to see that they can do that too. And I think that you're just such an inspiration, Morgan. And I am so blessed that we met and we got to spend all of that time when, you know, the world slowed down. We got to spend all of that time together, really, you know, having Sarah leading us to, and then meeting Hannah to really, you know, come into who we actually are as, you know, these souls that we came here to be. So
thank you so much. Oh my God, I'm going to fucking lose it. And so in addition to that, it actually is very much more magical, the fact that I'm in animal services now, working for dogs.
Yes.
Something you said, oh, that you're like, oh, I get to have it all. And I'm like, oh, there's the takeaway, right? Like we get to have it all. And that you don't have to stay stuck in something. Like I know so many people who, oh, I've been in this job for 10 years, or I went to school for this. I have to get the job in this. And you're a perfect example of somebody who there was only a plan A. There was no plan B, C, whatever. You were a plan A person. And I love that you allowed, and I really hope this hits home for the listeners, that you can explore your passions in different ways and just dance with it and let it lead you to all different opportunities. And that's what we all do, right? And that's what you do and are a perfect example of.
Do you have any advice for people who might be looking to find a career or make a career out of something that they love, but feeling like they have no idea where to start or how to go about it?
A few different random pieces of advice. Just, I'm done with the shoulds. If you feel like you should be doing something, reevaluate that, because that's never the right energy to go into something with. Secondly, I really think that just knowing what lights you up, like I've been obsessed with dogs since I can remember. So the fact that I've made it all the way back here is just so fitting. And I've always loved the outdoors. I've always loved nature. That's always been something. So don't fight those passions. Don't fight those things. Like if you always loved to draw or to sing or to dance, like go with it. And even if you don't get to like be a professional at it, in quotes, you can do something else with it. Like you can do so many other things with your passions, and just allow yourself to live in those passions. And experience them every day, because that's good for your soul. Like just simply because it's good for your body, mind, and soul to do those things that fuel you. And just lastly, don't be too set in your ways. Like you can have a plan. You can have a plan A, B, C, however many plans you want. But at some point you have to release control. If you try to control too much, the universe will be like, LOL, JK, here you go. And you just have to like release that need to control it, and just what will be, and to accept that and trust.
Yes, trusting and faith, right? And just doing more of what you love and putting yourself in situations of doing what you love.
Yeah, my story. But now I'm just gonna add on, I got engaged the other day, so
yeah, I didn't
all of my things.
I'm like, who's just telling
so I'm building like this life that I've been manifesting. You always forget about what you've been manifesting, and then all of a sudden you look and it's there, and it's just so crazy. So
how wonderful. Well, what a wonderful way to come to the end of our interview with you getting engaged. Yay!
Thank you again for being here. We're going to share all the links, how people can follow you and reach out to you.
Get your book.
Get the book. Get ready,
you.
Morgan. Get ready to fill those orders.
I can't wait.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. It was so great. And I'm so honored to be your first guest. Like I'm blown away.
Wouldn't have it any other way. All right.
That's
Have a
wonderful.
great
Okay.
rest of your day, Morgan.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys too. It's so nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
So how incredible was Morgan? And, this is how it always is meant to be. The astrology that we're coming into is this new moon in Leo energy. And literally it is about setting out on new adventures and really just going for your dreams, going for your passions. And like she embodies that so much. And I'm just so blessed to know her. And I'm so glad that we had this chance to have her come on here and talk with us. But I just kind of wanted to steer us into a direction of there's a lot going on, and really just trying to give you just a little snippets of how the astrology, what's going on in the stars, how it can actually affect you here, on this planet in your body. Because sometimes we don't understand that we're going through cycles. She kind of hinted on that when we talked to her, that we go through these cycles. The moon is what brought us all together. So I thought it would be very fitting to just mention that you really want to get in tune with your moon, essentially. When we're born, we're going to be doing an episode on this. I'm very excited. Everything is in its place, and that is like your fingerprint of the universe. And you use this information on your birth chart to really look at your life as a whole and kind of see where you can be presented maybe some lessons, some problems, and how you can handle said lessons and problems is really all written in the stars. So I hope that you can start really kind of taking an interest in how you're feeling. That's big, how you feel when the moon is going through its phases, when there's retrogrades. People get all excited. We have a lot of retrogrades going on right now, but they're always happening. And here we are, we're still here. It's just learning how to really maneuver this energy to make it work for you. This new moon in Leo energy should still be hanging around and just beautiful and really giving us this ability to tap into those passions and those desires that we're carrying, maybe that we're not even allowing ourselves to see, and really just taking a moment to tap into those and see what you're feeling, see what you're wishing for, and really taking a look to see where you can take that. We have a girl living in the woods and magic. It's like everything she's doing is magic because she decided that she was going to live life and she wasn't going to let that life run her, and just things just started unfolding for her. And I just love it so much.
Okay. So I'm really excited for this episode's business success playbook. I'm sure after you guys listen to Morgan, like that passion, and deep rooted connection into everything that she was doing when it felt aligned versus doing things that didn't feel good, manifesting getting sick, hurting herself when she was in these jobs that just were not aligned for her, and really like following her passion and recoding what that meant for her is what I want everybody to take the time to do. So one of my activities that I have my clients do right off the get-go is Zone of Genius Discovery. And we're talking deep discovery. I want you to really go deep when you do these things. I'm going to give you some questions. Okay. So if you want, like, pause whatever when you're listening to this, watching this, grab a pen and paper or type it on your computer, type it in your notes on your phone, and take the time to do these when you have time. Don't like rush through it. These are the activities that Morgan's done, that Hannah's done with me, right? In creating their programs. And they're the type of things that we brought into rebooting our podcast. So number one for Zone of Genius discovery. Okay. The first thing I want you to do is think about what is your zone of genius. Like really look at what am I really good at? I want you to think to yourself, what am I really good at? Who am I the go-to for with my friends and my family? Make a list of everything you love to do, things that are so easy for you to do, easy for you to teach and show others how to do things. I want you to even write down things that maybe you've never really thought like, oh, do I like doing these things? But people always ask me to do them, right? So just brain dump everything. Okay. So that's step one. Step two, this can be for anyone, whether you're new or you are somebody who's already in business. And here's the ways I want you to look at it. If you're already in business, I want you to think of like, what is a transformation I create for my clients? Now you might be thinking, well, I'm a creator and you create, custom drawings for people of their pets that have passed away. And you're thinking, well, what transformation do I really create? Well, for that example, you're creating a huge impact in their life, right? Like you're giving them that comfort that their pet's never truly gone, that they have that with them forever. Maybe you're someone who's teaching someone how to play the piano and you do that, you teach a couple students every week and you're like, what transformation do I really create? Well, now they can go and play music. You don't know, maybe they're going to be performing in a play on Broadway, playing the piano one day, and it's because you taught them how to play the piano. Maybe they're going to be the next Elton John, right? So really look at like, what is the transformation I create? And if you're not someone who's even started anything yet, just think of what has that transformation created in your own life in doing those things, or in your family's life and your friend's life that you've shared this with, that thing you're the go-to for. So when you've helped people with that, how has it impacted their life? What transformation has it created? That's part two. The third part I want you to do is now I want you to think, what do you truly embody? Like look at a typical day and week for you. And what are the things that you truly embody that you do every day, every week that you actually enjoy? And then think like, what do I actually love to do? What is something I would do whether I got paid for it or not? Okay. So write those out. And then the final thing I want you to do is think about like, what is that big thing that you love to do that you can talk about all the time? We all have those things that I could go off on a tangent here. Sometimes my sessions, my segments are short. The business ones, you're going to see me go long and the girls are going to have to cut me off because I'm so passionate about this. So what is that thing you can do and you can talk about all the time? And then what you're going to do is you're going to look at that list and you're going to find the common denominators. Okay. And those are your zone of genius. That is where your passion lies. And that's where we can run with it. We can make the businesses for hiking for women in the wilderness. So we have people like Hannah who aren't afraid to go hiking in the wilderness. They have someone like Morgan to guide them, to teach them, to show them, to create books for them and guides. You literally could not throw anything at me that I couldn't turn into a business for you. So I challenge you. So please, if you have ideas after doing this, and I want you to really zone in on your zone of genius. And I invite you to share those with us. If you're comfortable, share them. If you're more shy, there'll be a opportunity on our stories on the ReCoded podcast on Instagram. So at ReCoded podcast on Instagram, we'll put opportunities for you there to participate and we can share them after anonymously. And I can answer any questions you have about how can I turn this into a business? How can I take this, what I discovered was my zone of genius, and turn it into a business? So go do those things, find your zone of genius. That's where it begins. And this is a way to fast track it. So while Morgan did these things, she also found her zone of genius along the way. But when she did this, remember I mentioned at the start of this episode how Morgan sent me her bio and it took her literally seconds. She's like, oh, I don't really have anything. And then she wrote me that. And I was like, holy macaroni. And she's like, that literally just came to me off the top of my head. This is why it came there, because she's so connected into her zone of genius. And you can get there too.
Isn't it wonderful to know that your method, your thing you've come up with, your system can help people in the most easeful way find their genius, the zone of genius, and bring it to the world in the most effective way. Isn't it wonderful? I find it beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And having gone through your systems, how easy it was to go through it and how well thought out you have it step by step. And it just allows your creativity and your ideas and your true essence to come through in the most easeful way. And it's like a wonderful thing.
That just makes me so happy to hear, because that was my biggest thing when I started, was like, I wanted to make it easier for people so it didn't have to be complicated. But what I see when you're saying that, and when I hear like Morgan just tell her story and talk about what she does and come up with that statement so quickly, is like, wow, look at what they did. Like, look at how they took that and just ran with it. And that's what lights me up and makes me very grateful that I get to do what I do.
All right. Well, today we have a very special meditation. It's a blend of a contemplation and a meditation for people who are looking to do what they love and make a living out of it. So let's just get in it and see where we go. Just begin by taking a cleansing breath. And by a cleansing breath, I mean inhaling through your nose, holding for 1 or 2 counts, whatever comes naturally to you. And then just with a big open mouth, just exhale through like a big sigh. Hold again, 1 or 2 counts, and inhale. And let it go. And inhale. And as you exhale, let everything go from this day, from anything that you've ever lived, from the beginning of time until right this moment, letting it all go. And one more time with that intention, letting everything go. Now, it would be wonderful if you could set your feet flat on the floor, placing your palms facing up on your thighs, back straight. And if you can, go ahead and close your eyes. We're going to do a quick scan. You're going to go in your head. Notice if there's any tension. You can close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open. Notice if there's any tension in your head. Notice your brain. Our brain is a muscle, and it might be squeezing when we do too much thinking or overthinking. It kind of just, we overwork it, and it gets really, really tight inside our head. So imagine that you're connecting your brain to your fist. Tighten up the fist, and then open it up as you exhale, and notice how your brain is going to relax into your cranium. Notice your neck. Notice your throat. You're holding back thoughts, ideas, because you feel like you're not able to speak them out loud for fear of being judged or rejected or made fun of. Pay attention to your chest, your shoulders, your arms, your torso. Notice if you're tightening up. And release. Beautiful. Now we're going to allow or imagine that there's an opening in our crown center, and we're going to allow a ray of light to come in. And this ray of light is literally going to erase any past memories of any careers that you believe that you should do, something that you feel like your family would expect you to do, your friends would expect you to do, you in some sort of programming, maybe from a past life, decided that that's what you have to do, or some career that you feel it's your only way of making money. So we're going to erase the desire and the need or the obligation to do it, and the desire of doing it just for the money's sake. And imagine that light just lighting up every single cell of your body, and as it lights all those trillions of cells, each cell gets erased from that programming. Keep breathing gently and exhaling through the mouth, going down your head, lighting up so bright, going down inside your body, feeling the edges of your body from the inside out, creating a wide opening within your body for this light to come through, lighting you up, going down, down, deeper, down, down, deeper, down, down, deeper. Feeling yourself lighting up, going down through your legs and lighting up, and down, down deeper, lighting up, erasing all those shoulds, all those obligations, all those ideas or concepts that no longer fit your narrative, no longer align with your desires, no longer align with the essence of who you are. Beautiful, allowing that energy to pour into the earth's crystalline grid. Tap into that peace that has been created within you. And now imagine this one thing that you just love to do, that would just love to do it all day long, and you wouldn't mind. All day and all night, and you'd be so happy. And tap into the feeling of it, what it gives you when you're doing this thing. Tap into the joy and allow the joy to fill your body. Start feeling the joy. Feeling the joy go through all the cells in your body that have been lit up. So allow them to experience the joy. Deeper and deeper, feeling that joy. Every cell in your body is now joyful, vibrating at the frequency of joy. And now, get ready to come back. Start wiggling your toes, feeling yourself coming back into your body. Do a little stretch. Shake your palms, shake your hands. Take one deep cleansing breath and exhale. Open your eyes and coming back, coming back, coming back. Holding that joy as you come back, feeling that peace, coexisting with that joy. and surrendering your desires. You're trying to force things into existence and allowing yourself to flow into your own stream of life.
Stacia, you know what that means.
Oh, I have a good one. So I picked this quote even before I knew that we were going to be interviewing Morgan. And I feel like this is just hold on to your socks. Passion is all about you and what brings you energy in life. But finding your true, unique purpose takes courage. It means daring to live your truth and inspiring others to do the same. Find what sets your heart on fire and use it to spread your light into the world. Felicia Edton. She's a performance coach, business strategist.
Wow.
Oh, Jinx.
But I was like, this is her.
On fire.
This is her, you know, taking that, finding that courage and just daring to live your truth. You know, she's been finding herself without even knowing she was finding herself. And she was running with it because she had, you know, she had this structure, Sarah. She had all of this support and structure around her that just enabled her to really feel into those dreams that she had and she held. And she didn't even know, you know, she just started finding them along the way. So,
yeah.
That's perfect.
Thank you again, Morgan, for being here with us. I know the audience is probably just as in love with you now as we are. So we'll put all the links to follow Morgan in our show notes and how you can get her book and follow her podcast. I'm sure we'll be seeing her again at some point. And let us know what you thought of this episode. I hope you enjoyed all the segments. And with Mind, I mentioned if you have questions, just let me know. And I'm going to put that opportunity for you to share anonymously in our IG stories. So make sure you go follow us at ReCoded Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah, and if you like this episode, subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
All the things, all the things.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
ReCoded.